Picture this. London, 1940, bombs are falling, sirens are wailing. And what are the Brits doing? Sipping their tea, of course. They even had a saying, keep calm and carry on. And carry on they did, with a stiff upper lip and an even stiffer gin and tonic in hand. It's said that during the war, Winston Churchill consumed enough alcohol to sink a battleship. Maybe that's how he came up with his brilliant wartime strategies. Jokes aside, the British spirit was truly remarkable. They faced adversity with a wry smile and a good dose of humour. They knew that laughter, like a good cuppa, could soothe even the most troubled soul. When the bombs began to fall, the British government decided to evacuate children from major cities to the safety of the countryside. This mass evacuation, codenamed Operation Pied Piper, saw millions of children, some as young as 5, being sent away from their families. Imagine the tearful goodbyes, the uncertainty, the sheer scale of it all. But even in the midst of such a massive upheaval, the British sense of humour prevailed. There are stories of mothers packing their children off with essentials like a jar of Marmite and a stiff brush for scrubbing their teeth. Talk about priorities. And the children themselves, bless their hearts, took it all in stride. They made new friends, explored the countryside, and learned to adapt to a new way of life. You wouldn't think it, what with their reputation for politeness, but the Brits have a mischievous streak a mile wide. During the war, they established the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, a secret organisation dedicated to, well, being ungentlemanly. Their mission to dream up cunning plans and pranks to bamboozle the enemy. They planted fake documents on corpses to mislead the Germans, dropped exploding rats on enemy troops, yes really, and even used pigeons to carry messages and even cameras. Talk about avian espionage. These cheeky tactics, a far cry from traditional warfare, proved surprisingly effective. They kept the Germans guessing and boosted morale back home. After all, who doesn't love a good prank, especially when it's played on the enemy? Wartime Britain was all about making do with what you had. Resources were scarce, so people had to be resourceful. The government even launched a Make, Do and Mend campaign, encouraging people to repair and repurpose old clothes, furniture, and anything else they could get their hands on. Imagine turning your old curtains into a dress, or patching up your trousers with whatever scraps of fabric you could find. It was a time of ingenuity and resourcefulness. People learned to be creative, to see the value in things that might have been discarded in more plentiful times. It was a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, proving that even in the face of adversity, you can always find a way to make things work. Section 5. Keep calm and carry on cooking. Wartime recipes. Food rationing was a fact of life in wartime Britain. Staples like sugar, butter and meat were strictly controlled. But that didn't stop the Brits from getting creative in the kitchen. They came up with all sorts of ingenious recipes, using whatever ingredients they could get their hands on. Think Woolton pie, a vegetable pie named after Lord Woolton, the Minister of Food, or potato scones made with just mashed potatoes and flour. These dishes might sound simple, but they were surprisingly tasty and nourishing. They were a testament to the British ability to make the best of a bad situation. And who knows, maybe some of these wartime recipes are still lurking in family cookbooks, waiting to be rediscovered. Section 6. Blackout bingo and wartime romance. With streetlights extinguished to confuse enemy bombers, wartime Britain was plunged into darkness every night. This blackout, though necessary, did put a damper on social life. But did it stop the Brits? Not a chance. They simply adapted, turning blackout into an opportunity for fun and romance. Enter blackout bingo, a popular pastime in air raid shelters and community halls. People gathered in the dark, listening intently as the numbers were called out. And let's not forget the blackout romances. With the cloak of darkness providing anonymity, people were emboldened to strike up conversations, to flirt, to find love in unexpected places. It was a time of stolen kisses, whispered secrets, and the thrill of the forbidden. Victory gardens, digging for victory. With food supplies limited, the British government encouraged people to grow their own fruits and vegetables. They launched the Dig for Victory campaign, urging people to transform their backyards, balconies, even bomb craters into miniature farms. People embraced the idea with gusto, turning their green thumbs to growing everything from potatoes and carrots to beans and tomatoes. It was a way to supplement their rations, to contribute to the war effort, and to enjoy the satisfaction of eating food they had grown themselves. These victory gardens were a symbol of resilience, resourcefulness, and the enduring British love of gardening. G.I. Joes and British Bells, an unlikely alliance. When American troops arrived in Britain during the war, it created a cultural clash, to say the least. The Brits, with their reserved demeanour and dry wit, were initially bemused by the boisterous, gum-chewing GIs. But despite their differences, the two groups found common ground, forging an unlikely alliance. The GIs, with their access to American goods like chocolate and nylons, were a hit with the British ladies. And the Brits, with their knowledge of local customs and their dry sense of humour, offered a different perspective to the Americans. This unlikely pairing led to countless romances, cross-cultural exchanges, and lasting friendships. It was a testament to the human ability to connect and find common ground, even in the midst of global conflict. The laughable side of rationing. Rationing was a necessary evil in wartime Britain, but that didn't stop the Brits from finding humour in it. They joked about the meagre rations, the long queues, and the inventive ways people found to stretch their supplies. There were stories of people using beetroot juice to colour their lips, of using bricks in their toilet systems to save water, of knitting socks from dog hair. These anecdotes, though born out of necessity, highlight the British ability to find humour in the most unexpected places. They show that even in the face of hardship, laughter can be a powerful coping mechanism. Blitzed Brits' unbowed spirit. The Blitz, the relentless bombing of British cities by the Germans, was a terrifying ordeal. But the British spirit, much like their buildings, proved remarkably resilient. Despite the constant threat of air raids, the destruction and the loss of life, the Brits carried on with their lives, their spirit unbroken. They joked about the bombs, sang songs in air raid shelters, and continued to go about their daily lives with a mix of stoicism and good humour. This unyielding spirit, this refusal to be cowed by fear, was a testament to the strength of the British character. It was a reminder that even in the darkest of times, the human spirit can endure, adapt, and even find reasons to laugh.